Welcome back. I'm very excited to share this a little bit different video with you today. And one of the very important things we all face is getting credibility and, just appreciation in our field. Authority, building authority. And one way to do that, we all have to write articles or blogs and reach out to our customers and show the unique knowledge we have and share and the rationale behind it. So the more ways you can explain why you're doing what you're doing, the broader audience you can reach. And one of the most common ways and simplest, I guess, well, I don't know if it's simple, but the best way to get credibility is to have references and references and more references to everything that you are doing. And in Dropsmith, I think we covered quite a lot of ground. I really did my best to include everything I could, the scientific research, the practical use of essential oils that my colleagues do from aromatherapy journals, from books, from different professionals. We put also emphasis on the chemical components, on the smell, on pretty much everything that we could. So I'm giving you a great tool. All you have to do is put it together and use it to express yourself even more, to give you that confidence and authority why it is what you're doing. Why is it so wonderful? So let me show you how I do this, and to make your life so much easier and simpler and save you tons of time. It just saves you mountains of time, because whatever it is that you're choosing, you need to go through mountains of research to find these few little references that are actually going to back up your choices. And Dropsmith can do all that work for you. Yes. It's the miracle we've been waiting for, or I have. So let me show an example. I will go to my dashboard. So as I already mentioned in previous video, and you can see this also in the support videos, dashboard is my private space. This is where I'm going to look for my my recipes, whether they're private or I share them with the community, and also my comparisons. So today I will start with comparisons. So let's say I'm having a lecture or I am writing an article and I want to show why this specific basil is good for what, or I just want to prove a certain point. So I will use different basils today. So I could do a comparison from scratch, but I wanted to share one that I already have prepared. And this is a really interesting one, because when people say basil or sage or eucalyptus, they usually have one or two in mind, but there's so many out there, There's so many different and rare and special essential oils that are available today that we really need to be careful what you are saying. So this is the first tip I give you. Be really specific of what you're saying. If you're saying basil, say the chemotype. Use the Latin name. Check it out that the Latin name is the latest one. They do change. And we do watch this in Dropsmith as well. So make sure that sometimes you have synonyms. For example, it can be holy basil or tulsi. Somebody calls it tulsi. So just the more you're aware of, the more people you can reach and talk to. And people have different opinions, and different things are important to them. To some people, it's very important that they have the scientific evidence. For other people, it's just important that it works. I personally think that everything's important. So the more you know, the more you can give, the more authority you get, and the more credibility your work has, because you can reach out to pretty much anybody. And Dropsmith is here to help you. Yes, it is. That's why I created it. To help you out, to save time, money, but especially time. For me, it was just so time consuming to get all this information, write down all the references, and then they change, and next year there's new ones, and you have to keep up and keep up and keep up, and I end up not doing what I love. I'm in these books all the time. So with Dropsmith, I just want to help you search what you need and then check out those references without wasting tons of time searching for them. Okay, so here I have these 4 basals, and for example, in a lecture, or you're very welcome to use all this stuff in your class, or when you're writing an article or blog or whatever. You just send us an email. We'll give you the permission to use it, no problem. It can even help you out with that. Okay, so you can use the pictures, for example, to show, in this case, let's say the article or the lecture was about essential oil safety. So right away here I can see by the colors, because a lot of people respond better to color, that they're very different in chemistry, and that will of course affect their safety. So let's just scroll down directly to safety, although you can be talking, for example, why all of them are antioxidants. But let's skip that. So today we're, for example, writing an article or a lecture, or you're choosing for your client which basal is to watch out for what in safety. And safety is always in connection to the chemical components. So see here with this chemotype of definitely it's because there's a lot of methyl carboxyl in it. So that's why it has a certain safety recommendations. Okay, and then you can easily show that, incorporate that with your work, and all you need to do is, you can copy the reference here, but do go to read more, and then it will take you to the article or the book that you can actually read it yourself, make sure that this is what it's about and that it's right for what you are writing. But again, it will save you tons of time. So holy basil, we need to be careful because of the phenol content. It has tons of eugenol, although not as much as perhaps clove, but still it's at a high percentage. And for these 2 basals, we need to watch out the safety recommendation because it can cause skin and mucous membrane irritation, and that is connected to the eugenol content. But then again, you can go ahead and say the useful stuff for eugenol. So as you see, whatever topic you want to go into, Dropsmith gives you the opportunity to go wider, to be really, really professional, and to have, the credibility to stand right behind what you're saying. So for example, I don't want to scare my students or my public from using holy basil. I just want them to be safe. And I will say also, because of this eugenol, that I need to be careful in dosage. It is exactly what brings the wonderful antioxidant property, for example, and great antibacterial properties to this essential oil that I can use quite safely in the air, for example. So this is the gift of Dropsmith to save you tons of time. So this is how I go about, for example, preparing a lecture or writing an article. I also recommend to you to use all these pictures, just print screen or whatever, because people like the visual effect, and then it's much easier to get the point across. But let's go look at this, for example, if you're creating formulas or blending or preparations. How can this help you be more professional to a client or as a company? Let's look at that. Go back to dashboard. I will go back to dashboard, and then we're looking at my blends now. I will look at more of them to find one suitable for you. And now I'm looking for something that could be simple. Oh, let's do wound healing. This is quite typical. So a lot of people want to work with skin, and it's a common question. How do we use essential oils for skin? Or when you have a client, or a lot of people, and a lot of my students end up having their own products. It's really lovely. Like at least 50% of my students have their own products at the end. It's so interesting. So let's look at this. So here I have 3 oils, very simple blend. My blends are often simple because I'm quite aware of the complexity of the blend itself. So although it might be simple because there's only 3 oils, I'm quite aware that the complexity of the chemical components behind it is is not so simple. So geranium, if we look at, it's a great oil to choose, because if we look at, let's look at skincare. All of them are often used in skincare. So you have great rationale here. Again, let's say you have one-on-one. You can say, okay, I created this blend for you because here you see for geranium, I have all of these authors and even some scientific references saying that this is great for skincare. It is great for oily skin. And this is what the blend tool gives to you. It calculates more than what you probably need. But you can give all this rationale to your clients or put on your website or whatever, and then, you know, right away you have the reference right here. So again, great for example, what else would be dry skin. We have oily skin here, skin care, with all skin types, but just the sweet orange and geranium we found, you know, references for that. Irritated skin. So you can mature skin, and it calculates, if you're wondering about this percentage, it's calculating the ratio. Okay, so if we go to wounds, and this is another trick, depending on your browser, you can just command F and search for it. So wounds, there we go. We have geranium, quite often recommended for wounds, and lavender, of course. But here for geranium, we also have scientific research. So you will find that here under regenerative, I think. Yes. See, you have some scientific references that support that geranium is for wound healing. So what I would do in an article, for example, I can first talk about each of these essential oils individually. So you would click on them on Dropsmith and then find great information there, whether it is like this one we just saw, that is a scientific reference, and then I would go to and explain and have references from aromatherapists that also use it, or sometimes it's mentioned in journals and case studies. So I like to balance these. I like to give the scientific evidence and back it up with the practical evidence as well. But then I like to take a step further, like with sweet orange. The reason I used it is because of the chemical composition. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling now a little bit. It's such a long list of great stuff, isn't it just amazing? It's amazing. It gives so much more value to what you're doing. And here you go. And if I look at limonene, which is in my sweet orange, you will see that limonene has at the back of this long list wound healing. And this was my rationale for choosing sweet orange. Because orange, if you click on it, and you can do this on your own time, or I can just show you now. I'll open it in a new tab. And if you look at the sweet orange as an essential oil, it is not really mentioned for wound healing. It is for all sorts of skincare, but I haven't found it referenced to used for wound healing. But here, if you look at the chemical composition, you will find it quite high. Where is it? Let's search for it. Wound. Here it is. Wound healing, 90, almost 95%, because of the high limonene content. See, here we look at sweet orange has almost 95% of wound healing. I did a video on this as well. Maybe you can find it if you're interested. But the reason I wanted to show you this interesting combination of geranium, orange, and lavender is because I have different rationale behind each of them. Geranium has some great information from the scientific research, where on the essential oil as a whole. Lavender is just known so widely to be used in all sorts of different situations by therapists for wound healing. And for orange, although I didn't find any scientific references for the essential oil, or it wasn't really mentioned with the authors and aromatherapists to use in skincare that way, But if we dug deeper and looked at the chemical components, there is the evidence and the rationale why I chose this blend. So I wanted to show you this interesting, seemingly very simple choice. Well, I'll just close it because the list is so long. I'm apologizing for scrolling. Okay. So it seems very simple, but I have a deep rationale behind it. I can make a whole article about this, I can write about each of these oils and the rationale behind it. And as I said, rationale is different for each one. Here I will concentrate on the scientific evidence. With lavender, I will concentrate on the abundance of traditional use. And with sweet orange, I get to dig in deeper and show the value of the chemical components. So in that way, in that approach, whether it's my lecture, or whether it's an article I'm writing, or a blog, or for a client when you're choosing it, I covered different aspects and different areas, different professional areas, and I hope to satisfy all of them. So this is what gives me credibility and authority in my field, because with this tool I can cover many grounds. I hope this was interesting for you. I hope this was useful for you. That was the whole point. And that you will start referencing your things even more, that you will find it easier to reference now that you know that all you need to do is click on it in Dropsmith, and it will take you right to the book or right to the article and to the thing and the information that is exactly for what you need, and that is to give rationale and give the value and the professionalism to whatever it is that you're doing. I am so happy you're with me on this journey, and I wish you a wonderful day, and keep playing with Dropsmith. Keep your stuff unique, and I hope this supports you to express yourself more. Bye.